This video is sponsored by Favro, and in it we're going to look at how modern project collaboration software like Favro can be used for traditional project management methods, and so you get the benefits of both adaptive agile project management software and traditional project management software alongside all of the benefits of collaboration. If you look at all the standard project management approaches, like those of the Project Management Institute, the Association for Project Management, or PRINCE2, there are a huge number of disciplines that we need to wrap into our project management. PMI calls them knowledge areas, and PRINCE2 calls them themes. But whatever you call them, these include things like risk management, stakeholder engagement, quality, procurement, resource management, costs and budgeting, and of course scheduling. Yet traditional project management software deals with very little of this. Primarily it focuses on scheduling and resource management. Now, there are fully formed project management information systems, PMIS software, that purport to do all of this. And they are great. Many of them are highly effective. But the challenge with those tools, and indeed with many of the traditional, if you like, Gantt chart tools like Microsoft Project and Primavera, is very simple. They are only really effective for people who are highly trained in the use of them. As a result, these tools seem to be the exclusive purview of the project team. But what happens in the real world where projects are done by large numbers of people across an organisation? Many of them aren't a formal part of the project team, and indeed very few of them have project management training. That's where the modern type of project management software comes in. Tools like Monday and Asana, and of course Favro. These tools place their big emphasis on collaboration, and being modern, they have agile project management built into them from the ground up. This is, of course, a response to the two big changes that we've seen in project management over the last 10, 15, 20 years. Firstly, of course, the rise of agile, adaptive project management, and secondly, the increasing scope and spread of project management throughout organisations. In the past, small teams collaborated on projects, and the extent of cross-departmental and global collaboration was limited to a very small number of organisations. Now, it is the norm. Business people and organisational managers have always had to participate in and lead organisational projects. But the scale of this has grown enormously. Now, everybody in every department could find themselves wrapped into an organisational project that can span the globe. Most organisations don't need software that requires all of its users to understand project management. In fact, quite the opposite. They need software that all of its users can use and use effectively to manage time and resources to deliver products without knowing how project management works in a formal manner. As a result, the software tools that we need now have to be able to do 5 things. They have to allow massive, distributed teams to collaborate effectively across a whole organisation and often beyond. They need to allow each team, indeed each person, to display the information they need in the format that they find most convenient to do their job effectively. They need to be able to support adaptive and predictive approaches and everything in between. Of course, fourth, they need to allow users to use and adapt to the tools without any significant amount of formal training. Ideally, the tool needs to be so obvious that people can pick it up and use it without any training at all. And finally, I believe that they need to allow experienced project managers like us to use the tool in the way that they have been trained to manage projects. This new generation of software may not be as well adapted to certain types of projects like construction, for example, as tools like Microsoft Project or Primavera. However, they do place a premium on collaboration, usability and flexibility, and that's what matters to very many organizations these days, particularly where the people managing the project are not formally project managers. And a great example of this is Favro, who have kindly sponsored this video. But I'm not here to sell you Favro. I just want to show you some of the ways that you can use it, or tools like it, to manage projects effectively. I'm not a software reviewer, so please do not expect a comprehensive overview of all of Favro's capabilities. And neither am I an experienced Agile practitioner. Although Favro was originally developed to deliver Agile projects in the software industry, Agile isn't my expertise, so I shan't be focusing on that. I'll be looking at how I would use Favro to deliver a hybrid project with a lot of the elements of traditional predictive project management that I am used to using. What I'll do is show you the way that different teams could use Favro in different ways, so that teams that are not familiar with project management at all can use its list building tools and its powerful matrix approach. Other technical teams can use its Kanban approach, or indeed create sophisticated agile tools like burndown charts. And traditional project managers like myself can use it to create many of the tools we're familiar with, like work breakdown structures, milestone charts, risk registers, RACI charts, and lists of stakeholders. Let's open up my computer and get started. Okay, so here you can see my Favro dashboard, and it's a very simple interface to navigate. On the left-hand side, we've got our navigation. On the top, we can make changes to what we're seeing, and on the center of the screen, we've got either one or two panes of information. You can have a left pane, a right pane, or both panes. So we've got a lot of flexibility in how we use the tool, and I'm going to take you through some of the ways that I can use it. Before I do that though, I just want to demonstrate that in fact this tool, which is running at the moment on my Mac in an app, which and you can run it on your phone or tablet devices, in Android and iOS apps as well, mirrors very closely what you would see in a browser, so you don't even need to install an app. Here I've got the same page on my browser, and what I'm going to do in the app, just add a task to the WBS in the app, and you'll see how quickly that ripples through into the browser version. So they work perfectly in time. I'll close down the browser version and maximize the app version. What you can see at any one time is a number of collections of planning tools and resources that different teams have created. So let's take a look at the technical team. They may well be used to working with a backlog and Kanban boards, which may or may not have swim lanes. And so immediately we can see that Favro is a fantastic Kanban tool. And again, you just quite simply move tasks from one stage to another and everything will synchronize. Each task can have all sorts of information associated with it. In this case, we've got the names of members of the team who are working on it. You can create all sorts of different tags. You can set date ranges or milestone single dates, which then allow you to display this in roadmap view. There's obviously a status if you use Kanban, but there are lots of different fields and information you can add. And of course, when you've chosen what fields to add, there's also the ability to add additional narrative and free text with every task. And having added that, you can then also format the text as tables. You can add images, as you can see above. You can create bullet points. You can add attachments. numbered lists, dividers, and you can add code. And of course, particularly useful if you want to use this as a checklist of subtasks to do, you can create checklists with tick boxes. And you can assign those actions to individuals as well, just by clicking on that. So already the individual tasks are enormously powerful. If we go up to the sales team, we can see that the sales team may be less technical, may prefer something like a list view to understand their work. And that's exactly what we've got here. And you can add as many different fields as you like to the list view. And of course, if you've got a status in the list view, and of course that's what we've got here, we can then transform the list view into a Kanban. And if we go back to the list view, because there are dates in there, way back there, we can also go to the timeline. And if we remember that we're at the end of November, we can see that those are in there on the timeline. For those of you with an agile background, we can see that the development team B is using a product backlog, a very simple product backlog, and a Kanban view of it and a burn down chart. And of course, this also allows us to have cumulative flow charts and control charts, burning down by cards, cost breakdown structure, probabilities, deal sizes. There's a lot here for agile practitioners because the original tool that this is based on was developed for coders working in the games development industry. If we look at the customer services team, we can see that they've got a whole range of tasks in their backlog and a Kanban board and an asset roadmap which reconcile to one another. So we've got all three types of view in place here. And if we take a look at engineer callout as an example, that's showing us in progress on the Kanban board. If I shift this to under review, then it changes immediately in the backlog. And this also shows how we can indent different levels, which will be useful to us when we create our work breakdown structure, but you can summarize and roll stuff up. So if you considered, if you want another task within tier 1, let's call it task A, and we want to make it part of tier 1, all we need to do is click on a button there and use the indent function to move it in, and immediately we can create summaries and indented tasks. In corporate communications, you can see that I've created a project harmony messaging plan here. So we've got message A, we've got the stakeholders we want to send it to, the objective of the message, the tool that we're going to use, and here I'm using different tags for that. I can assign responsibility to individuals from my team, and I can assign a status, which as you'll expect will mean that we can show this as a Kanban, and a date, which can either be a milestone or a range of dates. So immediately we can have a look at this as a Kanban and move message A from preparation to review stage. And we can also look at this as a timeline. If we find it on the timeline, here it is, message A, because there's a single date, showing as a milestone, and because message B had a range of dates, it's showing as a task or a stream of work on our roadmap. And here I've created a team message log. Project Harmony, which is, if you like, our little case study project, I've color coded purple so we can see that there are purple activities within some of the teams that we're working with. Here we go, the Kanban board might be purple. And here in corporate communication, they may have a team message log which just records messages that are coming in from individuals from outside the team, dates, and then there are actions which can again be assigned to individuals, and we can show the progress on those as well. And of course, as you'd expect, there's our Kanban board, and as soon as we update message 2 from doing to perhaps blocked, then when we return to our sheet, we can see it's blocked. And you can set the status to be anything you like. So if I customize the status, I can choose whatever labels and as many labels of status as I like, and I can choose different color codes for those status. If we return to see our current work, we can see how easy it is to take a new message. Let's add a message comes into the organization. Message 4, we can document who it's from. Let's call it Bill. We can put a date when it arrived. Let's say it's today. We can create some action, do stuff, and we can see it's already appeared automatically in the current work. Now, how has it done that? It's done that because I've used an automation. So when the card is created, within my message log, it adds it to a board. So let's have a look at how automations are created. There's no automations with the Project Harmony communications plan. So we just create a message. We can use a lot of standard formulas that Favro have created for us, but we can also create a custom automation. When any of a number of things happens, we can then do a wide range of different things and multiple things as well. So the automations is a very powerful feature of this software. And lastly, if we come up to Project Harmony, PMO, you'll see I've starred this. If I unstar it, you can see it just drops down as one of my collections, but I can star as many of my collections as I choose so that I can see them easily. If this is the team I work in as PMO, I can star my own collection of different tools. And by the way, how do I create these new tools? I simply click on the X there and I can create a Kanban board, a sheet, a timeline, or a card list, or I can add a tool from another collection. So if I go to look at the customer services asset roadmap, I can just bring it in here onto my own dashboard. And then if I don't want to look at it at the moment, I can close it up. And the reason why I wanted to show you this as a PMO was because here I've created a range of different tools which immediately look like tools that you'll be familiar with from traditional project management. If we start on the left-hand side here, on the left pane, I've got a work breakdown structure, which I can allocate a status to each task in the work breakdown structure and a milestone date or a range of dates, which allow me to show this either as a Kanban board or as a timeline. And of course, if I go back to the sheet, you can also see that I can create a numerical field which is formatted as currency, which means I can turn my work breakdown structure into a cost breakdown structure, and I can immediately get summaries of costs of work streams. I've also created a milestone table here, and for this I've gone for a different range of statuses. Milestones can be achieved, they can be delayed by a week or more, or delayed by less than a week, or they could be on schedule. And here I've got a baseline and a current, so that when I look at that as a timeline, you'll see that I've got my milestones here. Now, I haven't yet figured out a way to distinguish between the actual and the predicted, but there are limitations to every single tool. But you can use this tool for monitoring milestones. On the right side of my navigator, I've got a risk register here, which I've created from a simple table. I've got a number field for my ID. Unfortunately, it doesn't come in automatically yet. That might be possible with the automatic features. I can describe the actions that I want to take, and I can give that field more space if I feel it needs it. I can allocate it to a responsible person, set either a deadline or a range of times to do it. I can rate my risks by impact or likelihood, and I can give it a status. And I can choose which of these statuses, the impact status, likelihood status, or if you like, production status, that I use for my Kanban. So risk 1 is to do and risk 2 has materialized. So I'm using the correct status there. But I can have a Kanban of risks by impact or risks by likelihood. Here's a list of stakeholders, just so I can track who they are. I've got a liaison person for each. I've got an attitude that I think the stakeholder might have, neutral, a supporter, undecided or opposed. And I've got an impact that the stakeholder can have. And that's just a great way to keep information about stakeholders. And then if I click on any one stakeholder, I can create tasks for the team regarding the stakeholder and as much information as I want. I can create all sorts of custom fields, and I can add a picture of the stakeholder. Let's get a picture of a stakeholder. show you how we do that. So let's get a picture of me as the stakeholder there. And that's great because then people can see who the stakeholder is. If it's an organization, you might put a logo in. And there I can show that on the Kanban card or not. I can size it. I can do lots of different things, and I can create attachments. And the brilliant thing about this is when I've had a conversation, I can record that in the chat. And other people can respond on the team. So this is a real collaboration tool. Anyone who has access to this table can contribute to the cards within it. And I've also, as an example, created a RACI chart. So different requirements has someone who is, let's spell that correctly, shall we? Responsible, accountable, consult and inform. And again, a status there, which means that I can bring this into a Kanban board. And when we want to, we can move requirement 1 into doing, and then go back to the sheet and see that everything's updated. The final thing I want to show you is what happens if you want to create a new collection. Clearly, you can create a new collection as a sheet, as a Kanban board, as a timeline, or completely start afresh and build it from scratch. Or there are a range of feature templates. Let's close off the feature templates. There are a range of agile templates, design organization templates like a mood board, project pipeline, user research, game development, because that's the origin of the tool. For HR and recruitment people, immediately you can see how you can use this for tracking new applications, for job applications, a directory of employees, which would be a great starting template to use, I guess, for stakeholder. Employee onboarding. And of course, if you have an employee onboarding process, which goes from step 1, step 2, step 3, then this is perfect. There are tools for legal teams, for manufacturing, marketing, office operations, real estate, customers and sales. And if you're a startup business, there are a load of great tools there as well for you. And I have no doubt that Favro will continue to develop more and more of these. And when you've chosen the tool that's right for you, let's have an expense tracker collection, you add it, and now you can edit the name of it. I shan't do that now. You can see how I can do that. And then you've got there immediately the standard template, which you can then adapt to your heart's content. Everything in it is entirely adaptable. You can add all sorts of different information to your template and change not only the status of an individual thing, but you can customize the statuses that you've got there by adding additional ones and choosing the color. And then of course it's available to you to use. So that's my whistle-stop tour of Favro, and I hope you can see that with modern project management tools, you can really use them for hybrid project management, for different teams to work in different ways and to adapt your project process to the needs of your project and of your stakeholders. If, like me, you're unhappy with the limitations of traditional Gantt chart software, yet are not happy with using simplistic list-based tools for managing your project, and if you find the capable but limited capabilities of the excellent Kanban tools not to your liking, then do take a look at Favro. It gives you the best of many worlds. You can create traditional Gantt chart type roadmaps. You can create powerful lists. You can turn those into effective Kanban tools with swim lanes, all in one tool. And among its competitors, I would say that Favro particularly excels at cross-team collaboration, particularly with the inbuilt chat function that sits within every single task that you create. It's also great for remote working and sharing information from one team to another and sharing tasks between different teams in different formats of display. And finally, what I really like about it is your ability to automate many repetitive tasks. And I'm not just talking about its integration with other software, which pretty much everyone has, but its built-in automation. Favro is well worth having a look at. Please do give a thumbs up if you like this video. there's loads more great project management content to come, so please subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of it. And I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video.